the lead carbon battery at ratio of the prices so you can evaluate. Hi, once again, I'm Abraham from Solar-Inverter Energy Systems. In this session, we'll be discussing batteries. So, as earlier speaking, I said to you that when people install these systems, sometimes they just last them 6 months and they're like, oh my god, what is this? I've been cheated and stuff like that. And then sometimes it actually lasts them more than 5 years, right? So it's weird, right? So I'm just going to quickly break this down. Basically, there are 3 categories of batteries. We have the wet cell, the gel or AGM, and then we have the lead carbon batteries. Let me just write that down so you can see. First, we have the wet cell batteries. We have the gel stroke AGM, and then we have the lead carbon. So I just arranged them in terms of lifespan and cost. So in general, for the wet cells, we have about 1 year. You get 1 year out of this if you use it on a 50% DOD. Now I'm quickly going to explain what DOD means, right? So when you're using your battery, I'll just keep this here. When you're using your battery, it's at 100%. So if you keep discharging your battery to 0%, that's going to kill your battery. So to get the best out of your battery, you generally want to stop at 50%. So if you use your wet cell battery and you drain it to only 50% per time, you get up to a year of usage from it. So now the problem is most people use wet cell batteries and they drain them at 100%. If you drain your battery at 100%, you only get about 200 cycles. That means 200 charges and discharges, which is about 6 months maximum if you discharge it 100% all the time. Now if you discharge it at 50% most of the time, you get up to 500 cycles from that. And okay, let's say plus or minus, because there might be some days when you might have no choice but to go below the 50% mark. So on average, if you manage your battery properly, for the wet cell battery, you get up to a year of usage from this. Now moving on to the next, we have the gel stroke AGM. Now from this, you can get around 2.5 years at 50% DOD, right? So it's quite similar to what happens with the wet cells. If you discharge it completely, you get much less, right? But if you discharge it at just 50% per time, you get up to 1,000 cycles, which translates to about 2.5 years, or more than technically, right? And with this, the gel and AGM technology, they are really similar, but most times we advise to go with the AGM. Now, why do I say this? Batteries are very complex. Apart from the usage cycles, the way you charge them also matters. Now, the issue with the gel batteries is that they need very sophisticated charging systems. It's not just about charging it, it's now about the flow of the charge right into the battery. You need to have a special charger that can handle it. So, and most times, it can be a hassle to now start figuring out which inverter is specifically designed to charge a gel battery and all that. So generally, we advise, and at Solar-Inverter Energy Systems, we generally go with AGM batteries because they are much easier to maintain and they'll still give you the same lifespan as the gel batteries. Because the gel batteries technically on paper are supposed to last a little bit longer than the AGM, but because of the charging issues, you find that most times they perform worse than AGM batteries because most of the inverters in the market are better suited at charging AGM batteries. Now we're going to move on to the lead carbon batteries. This is not really common. It's It's not exactly new, but it's not really common in the market, right? So these batteries are very, very crazy. So with the lead carbon batteries, you can get up to over 5 years of usage at 70% DOD. I believe we understand the DOD part now, death on death, right? So discharge rates, right? So if you discharge the lead carbon battery at 70% per time, you'd get up to 5 years of battery lifespan from it, and okay, I've just given I avoided price on purpose because I wanted to give a run through of the benefits first before going into the pricing and all that. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the economics of these different types of batteries. Right, for the wet cell, well, I'm not going to call prices. I'm not going to give specific prices now. I'm just going to give you an idea so that I'm just going to give you an idea of the ratio of the prices so you can evaluate the benefits. The ratio almost always, I use almost always because of maybe economic. I use almost always now because of maybe economic, ups and downs and all that. But almost always, this ratio always plays. So using the wet cell as a benchmark. Okay, let me just give a price. Now, let me just give a price so you can have a constructive idea of what we're talking about. So using the wet cell now as a benchmark, if the wet cell battery is to cost, let's say 90,000 naira, this is just hypothetical now, you generally find that the gel and AGM batteries would cost, where do I put this now? Okay, let me just put it here. So now we're talking about the pricing, right? So for the wet cell, if this is okay, this is the benchmark. Okay, so the gel stroke AGM batteries generally cost around 50% more than the wet cell batteries, right? So if you get a wet cell battery at 90,000 naira, the same capacity of a gel or AGM battery should cost around 135,000 naira, right? So that's it. And then also for the lead carbon batteries, they cost 50% more than the gel stroke AGM batteries. But then if you now compare between the lifespan and the prices, you see that it's actually much different, right? So when you compare the price and lifespan of the gel stroke AGM batteries, you discover that it's actually about 25% cheaper than the wet cell. Because, okay, let's do this simple math. If you had to buy 2 wet cell batteries over the span of 2 years, that's about 180,000 naira. And then if you had to just buy 1 gel or AGM battery over the same period, you discover you'd have saved that's now about 45,000 naira. Yeah, if I'm correct. Yes, so it's actually cheaper to go with the gel AGM batteries. And then for the lead carbon batteries, which is also 50% cheaper than the gel stroke AGM batteries, and you see it's 50% more expensive, and it lasts up to 5 years, right? So you see that you're still saving money, because in the end, in 5 years you would have bought 2 sets of gel AGM batteries, whereas in that 5 years you would have spent just about 75% of that cost, right? So that is, you would have saved 25%. And then another advantage that these lead carbon batteries have, these guys are crazy. You can see with this you have 50% a DOD to function at this. This also has 50% DOD to function at this, but this has 70. What does this mean? When you use a lead carbon battery for the same capacity, you actually have more hours of usage and more lifespan than all these guys. So basically, at Periva Energy Systems, we have inverter bundles that are designed with the wet cell batteries, the gel and AGM batteries, and well, primarily the AGM batteries. And we also have systems designed with the lead carbon batteries based on your budget. So if you want to see our pricing chart, you can either click below, above, or beside wherever you're watching this on Instagram, YouTube, or Facebook. Follow the link, sign up for our extra info newsletter group, and then we'll send you our pricing list and our brochure where all these things are broken down. And also you can call us up on 0812-079-1383 for further inquiries. I'll call the number again, 0812-079-1383. It will also be put down in the info section below or above or beside or anywhere around, depending on whether you're watching on YouTube, Instagram, or Facebook. Thank you so much for joining us on this batteries expose. I feel you should feel that we are both battery experts now. I hope I've been able to clear up your confusions. See you on the next episode where we'll be discussing solar panels. Don't want to miss that.